I think we start with the big announcement that you made going into this reelection campaign has to do with permitless carry or constitutional carry, right? Where the idea is to remove the permitting requirement for concealed carry. Can you talk a little bit about why you decided to get behind this particular policy, what it is you think is going to bring a benefit to the state of Georgia?
Yeah, well, look, I'm very excited about, constitutional carry or permitless carry, if you will, in our state. It's something that a lot of people have supported for a long time, including myself. But I think this environment now has it where we can get the votes in the General Assembly to get this passed. And as you mentioned, Georgia has been for a very long time a strong Second Amendment state. I served in the General Assembly back in the early to mid 2000s, and we certainly had a record then of supporting the Second Amendment, and it continues today, even though there's a lot of people fighting against that in our state and in our country, and we're pushing back against that. But to me, the whole constitutional carry piece this year, it's just a public safety issue. With what we've seen with civil unrest, rise in violent crime, and really a lot of our cities across the country, and certainly Atlanta's no different than that, people are just fed up. They're scared, they're fed up. There's a lot of politicians at the local level that haven't been doing anything about this rampant violent crime for a long time. We're addressing that as well with the crime suppression unit. Thankfully, the locals are starting to get in the fight with us there to send a message to these folks, but it just went on for a long time and has really frustrated a lot of people, and people are just scared. And then, during the pandemic, you had a lot of these local governments that weren't open, probate judges in Georgia that issued the carry permits weren't processing them. I talked to a guy that works on my staff the other day. It took him, over 15 months to get his weapons carry permit, which is just outrageous. Where you have other counties around the state, you can get them back in just a matter of days, or certainly no more than a few weeks. And people have just grown frustrated by that, and so we're going to push through constitutional carry right now. It's working its way through the General Assembly. There'll be a lot of people that push back on that from a national stage and people in our state, but I feel good about where we are there.
Yeah, I believe there's 31 co-sponsors in the Senate now for one of these bills. There's a couple bills going through the State House, as I understand it. Do you have one in particular that you're looking to push for?
Well, certainly, the Senate's got a bill they're working already. It's my understanding. We've been talking to the House leadership, too, and some members there about them introducing a bill just where we can have two bills moving, which really is kind of good because you can have both bodies weighing in early on the policy side of it, where it doesn't get bogged down at the end of the session and, you have some sort of disagreement. So it gives us plenty of time. So we're supportive. I haven't introduced my own bill yet because we're just working with the members of the General Assembly. There's plenty of people here that want to get this done. And so we feel like we can be best effective working with all of them, let them fine tune it through the legislative process, and then we'll get a good bill done. We're also trying to get House Bill 218, which we worked really hard last year in the governor's office to get that bill through the Senate, get it over to the House, and it just didn't quite get through. Last year was a very unusual year with the pandemic. There was a lot on our plate, and for whatever reason, it didn't get done. So we're pushing through with that too. That's more of a reciprocity bill, something that we've been working with the NRA on to make sure that, if you're licensed to carry in another state, you'll have reciprocity here. And that's certainly, what I want as a person that has a carry permit now. I like to go to other states where you can carry and not have to have some piece of paper from, another government entity to do that. We got to be careful when we pass those bills. I believe both of them will pass this year. That's what we're fighting through. We got to make sure that the language is correct, where we're not canceling something out when we pass something else, which is more of a legislative quirk. But, we've got a great group of legislators that'll, I think, help get this done this year. Appreciate anyone out there that's in Georgia that can lend us support and help lobby the General Assembly and get them to support that. But look, this is a great state besides policy for the Second Amendment and the firearms industry. We have great economics, economic development projects, manufacturers here in our state. It's a growing industry, but one that's been here for a long time. So we're continuing to promote that to provide good paying jobs and also good opportunities for a lot of great companies. Recently we announced that Remington was coming here. Obviously Remington's been broken up, but we've got the brand name coming to LaGrange, Georgia. We've got Taurus here, Glock, obviously Daniel Defense. Just really a lot of great companies. I was out at the SHOT Show recently visiting with a lot of our Georgia-based manufacturers. And I learned about other companies that we had that I didn't even know about in the state that are producing ammunition and parts and other things. So it's a growing industry here. It's people that are working in these facilities in the local communities where they're going. They're really embracing that, which is great for these companies. And they're just they're in a great state to live, work, raise their families, and exercise their Second Amendment.
Right. Yeah, certainly. We've seen a lot of exodus from sort of the northeastern states by these gun makers over the years, and some of them are landing in a number of southern states, but Georgia's been among those, as you just mentioned there with Remington. What are you doing to try and bring in more?
Well, listen, I'm kind of like every other governor in the Southeast. I'm telling them, why would you remain in a lot of the Northeast states that don't want you to be there? They continue to target you through policy, in the regulatory environment. Come south, come to Georgia, come to a place where we have a good business environment. We're strong supporters of the Second Amendment. But also we're selling them on just having a workforce that's going to want to work at a place like that can, is very familiar with their products and wants to take that pride of ownership of making those great firearms that so many Georgians and so many Americans are using every single day, whether it's for self-protection, shooting, or hunting. And that's just a culture that we've had in our state, and it's really a pretty easy sell for our state. And of course, it's an easy sell for me personally because I've been a user and a connoisseur of a lot of these products, if you will.
Certainly. So you mentioned there a bit earlier about having difficulties getting that preemption bill, or sorry, not preemption, the reciprocity bill that would increase the number of states where Georgia's concealed carry permit is recognized, and vice versa. You had difficulties getting that through the legislature last year. Why are you confident that this year you'll be able to get that through in addition to constitutional carry?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, last year, it wasn't because I don't think we had the votes to do it. I think it was just, the last day of the session, they had a lot of stuff they were trying to get done. It had taken us a while to get it through the process because there was a lot of pent-up things. It was a very non-normal legislative session in the middle of COVID and what we were dealing with in Georgia at the time, and trying to keep everybody, working, get things that we had a hard time getting the year before. And it just, really ran out of time. And, that was unfortunate. I would have loved to seen it pass last year, but I feel confident we'll get it this year. And I think on constitutional carry, it's just the dynamics have changed. There's been a lot of people, including myself, like I said earlier, that have been working on this issue for years. I campaigned on this issue in 2017 and 18 when I was running for governor. But, a lot of the legislators that may have been, uneasy about this, I think with the civil unrest, violent crime, just the environment that we're seeing around the country right now. And there's also, as there's been a lot of other states that have passed this now. And it's just, to me, it's good timing for our state this year. I believe the leadership is firmly on board, which you need to have, because no matter how hard I push up here, there's always, a lot of other strong leaders in the building that for whatever reasons, political or policy or otherwise, may not want to move something. But to me, I just feel like all that's lined up this year. So, I'm cautiously optimistic. We still got to get it done, but people just need to know that we're fighting in the governor's office for both of these things.